It's 2015 and Star Wars is having an amazing year. The new film coming out and a new game from DICE, creators of Battlefield. They are going to be making Star Wars Battlefront.
They sure are.
And they just recently announced the 20v20 space battles?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Fire Squadron. 20v20, but only 10 of those 20 are humans. The rest are Titanfall creep AI bots, which fly like assholes. They actually fly really badly and you can kill them real easily. But they're only worth 1 point, Peter. The humans are worth 3 points. And you know those transport ships that spawn randomly and take 45 seconds to cross the map? They're worth 20... Use your hands. 20 points. First 1 to 200 wins, X-Wings versus TIE Fighters, 3 different planets, Hoth, Tatooine, and I played on Sullus, and it's pretty good fun.
So how does that feel? How do the controls actually feel in this game?
It feels good, I think, for the one main reason I really like the idea of this is because I was like a big chopper pilot, like Battlefield Vietnam. I like doing the aerial stuff in Battlefield 2 and Desert Combat and whatnot. And the problem you get a lot of the time is that you're spending a lot of the time hugging, like getting up and then hugging the earth and doing strafing runs. In this one, you're basically, the entire sky is kind of your playground. There's nothing there's incidental stuff happening on the ground, but it's not really your focus. So you were essentially dogfighting, like old style, Red Baron flying through the air, trying to pick somebody out. And that's cool, because that other stuff can be distracting. One sweet thing is that sometimes if you get down that low, if somebody's on your back, there's like, elements of the environment, of the terrain, and of buildings that you can use to your advantage, like sort of deke around and get under. There's also like bonus items in it to fix your ship and get more shields. And there's this other one that lets you be the Millennium Falcon, which I did, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Super OP. But what I like about it is you're sort of free to pick around in the sky. You'll get in situations where you're fighting someone who's like behind you, who's been behind, or like 4 of you end up tackling one person. And I really like it. It feels different to the, to the way I'm sure the TIE Fighters and X-Wings feel when you're in like just a big normal mode game. These games were like pretty short. They were like sub 15 minutes. It was around 15 minutes each. And it kind of felt like you were out for yourself.
Yeah.
And in this one I didn't really mind because it wasn't a mode where you're trying to reach a unified goal of like we're trying to get that base or we're trying to like take over this much landmass where you really need strategy. You're kind of doing, it's kind of one-on-one while everyone else is doing one-on-one because you're like battling one person and like trying to.
You are rated as a team at the end, right?
That's true.
One team versus another team.
Yeah, but it's 2015 in video games, so even if you lose, they're going to give you a shitload of points. Don't worry about it.
I love points.
It kind of feels that way. It's like it doesn't feel like a mode I think you would play a lot. It feels like kind of an interesting, like when you're going in, one of the things I like about which I think we've lost a lot of when we used to play like games like Unreal Tournament or like Quake or stuff, is that sometimes you get like a really stupid map. But it was kind of fun because it was like, oh, change of pace, great, like palette cleanser. I feel like a lot of multiplayer games, the levels are so long and there's so much like, I don't know, almost like self-serious. Like this felt more like just kind of a little jaunt around. And it was competitive in that like I was looking at the score and like trying to be like, all right, we're like 2 away and they've got 4 to win. So if I just don't die, I'm helping the team. So I was still doing that, but it didn't have that pressure of trying to communicate properly with people. Maybe I'm just a jerk. Maybe I just like playing on my own. That's probably the real reason.
All right, so you're not a Star Wars fan, but are you now looking forward to Battlefront?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Battlefront sort of anyway because I like the idea of, like I like Battlefield games, but being able to lift that, the real world. Yeah, exactly. Being able to lift, being able to use weird types of ships that don't work the way humans ones do, weird guns and weird places. That appeals to me, and I think like having a weird mode in there like this one, I enjoy playing it. I think that's cool. I think there's a lot of new variety they can do in this one. How much variety? Saying the fact that this is a game that doesn't have any single player component to it is something else. Like, what do you think about that? I know you're a big fan of the single player aspect of these types of games. Well, maybe not Battlefield, but I know like a Star Wars property, everyone wants to have a single player.
I'll make it short and sweet. The way that you're talking about sort of like competing as a team, but also not really having much agency as a member of said team that can sort of help the greater cause in any way other than just not dying when things get rough. That to me is also sort of indicative of the issue where you're playing these really iconic Star Wars levels as sort of just a no name, and like, yeah, you can pick up Darth Vader, you can play as Luke Skywalker, but I'm concerned that you're not actually going to feel like you are a pivotal person inside of these plot lines.
I think from what I played, this felt like a very disposable battle. It didn't feel like I was part of this moment.
And
like,
that's what I'm worried about.
I picked up an icon and then I was the Millennium Falcon and it was like, woo!
Right.
But I never, it felt like I just like gotten a freebie. It didn't feel like I really was Millennium Falcon. So like I was kind of okay with that as somebody who's not like, maybe my expectations are like relatively mediocre, but yeah, I think to that point you were right. It didn't feel like this grandiose battle. It felt like multiplayer shooters.
Right?
Yeah, where I'm just like going pew 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 and stuff like that.
If you'd like to go fast, if you'd like to have control over maneuverability, it sounds like the TIE Fighter is the one to go. But if you need a little help aiming and getting down enemy ships, maybe you want the X-Wing with the homing torpedoes.
Exactly. Peter's got it exactly right. There's difference in the ships, and you've also got this weird thing where you can like basically put your shields up or have your speed go up on your ships, kind of like Elite Dangerous style, where you're like changing where the energy's going, and that's cool too. So that it's like asymmetrical, but they've got their pros and cons. Interesting.
I don't know. I mean, I'm really excited for Battlefront, especially for the aerial combat stuff. So you've got me a little intrigued. I still wish there was single player stuff, but if I can have fun dogfighting, that might be enough for me. We got a lot more Gamescom content on the way, so stay tuned to GameSpot.com.